Hello friends, and welcome back to Take a Jill Pill. It is one of my favorite times of the year, back to school season. In my last video that I made about 400 years ago, sorry, I didn't mean to leave you hanging. I talked all about time blocking and how it has helped me keep studying and my regular life balanced. Continuing on that same vein, today I wanted to talk about some study tips that are unconventional, but these tips will truly help you to ingrain what you're learning in your mind so that you do not forget it. Have you ever heard of the study of Pavlov's dog? Or have you ever seen The Office? If you haven't seen The Office, which you probably have because I feel like every human has, stop this, get off YouTube, and go watch The Office. And that's coming from a YouTuber. Anyway, a scientist named Pavlov, it's a different language, trained dogs by ringing a bell and then giving them food. He would do this over and over and over again. And eventually, every time the dogs heard the bell, they would start to salivate because they were expecting food. On The Office, Jim turns off his computer and then offers Dwight a mint. Every time Dwight hears the noise of the computer shutting down, he wants a mint. As crazy as this sounds, it's true. Our minds are built to work off of cues that we're familiar with. We have that same animal instinct, but we can use that instinct to our advantage and use it to help us remember things that we're studying in school. So that's what we're going to talk about today. How to use all 5 of our senses to help us remember the things we're studying so that we can recall them on exam day. Now, if you have a 6th sense, good for you, but I can't help you with that. This is not that kind of channel. The first sense I'm going to talk about is scent. Have you ever smelled something or caught a whiff of something just passing by and suddenly you were transported to something in your childhood? You vividly remember this memory that you forgot you knew. Scent can do that for us. And scientists believe the reason for that is because the olfactory bulb up in your sinuses, the thing that catches everything you're smelling, is nearby the part of the brain that stores your memory. So one part of your brain triggers the other. The ancient Romans were aware of this, and they would actually tuck sprigs of rosemary behind their ears when they would study. So anytime they wanted to recall the information that they had studied, they would just smell the rosemary and they quickly remembered everything they'd learned. So while you're studying for your exams or in school, you can tuck a sprig of rosemary behind your ear, but you might get some funny looks. So I came up with a more modern interpretation. You can either wear a perfume or an essential oil that you only wear while studying. The scent needs to remind you of when you were studying, so only wear it when you're studying. The second sense I want to talk about is feel. The easiest way to do this is try and wear the same thing every time you study, like a jacket or a sweater, definitely something that's kind of a special texture. So maybe a really fluffy sweater or like a windbreaker jacket, something you don't wear all the time. Along with that, I like to make sure that my hair is done the same way every time I study. For me, I like my hair up because if it's down, I will twist it and twirl it and get distracted by it and start staring at it. So for me, it's just easier to get it up off my neck. The third sense is your sense of hearing. This helped me so much to pass my final exams. I passed, by the way. Thank you very much. It helped me even more than I thought it would. But while I would study, I would listen to upbeat instrumental jazz music. Music I like, but don't typically listen to. A classic choice that a lot of people use is classical music. And while I like classical music, it actually makes me anxious and a little bit nervous. So I don't listen to classical music while I study. Also, I can't listen to anything with words, otherwise I will be singing along and not be focusing. Whoop. There we go. Not be focusing on what I'm studying. The fourth sense I want to talk about is your sense of sight. This is an interesting one because I think we use it more than we think we do. For instance, have you ever highlighted in a textbook or underlined or circled something? Why? Why did you do that? Because you found something important in your text that you wanted to stick out from the rest of the words. So you highlighted it. The same thing can be done when you're studying for versus on your test. You can wear the same shade of nail polish when you study and take your exam. You can use the same pen or even wear the same jewelry to look at, as long as it won't distract you. But if you're looking down at your test on exam day and your writing utensil is the same and your nail polish is the same and you've got the same bracelet on and you've got the same jacket on, the only thing that will be different is the words on the page, your test versus what you studied. It's also helpful, if you can, to try and study in the place where you'll be taking the exam. And the entire purpose of this is just to limit your distractions, things you're not used to. Because the more you're distracted on test day, the worse you're gonna do. The fifth and final sense that I want to talk about is the sense of taste. This one also helped me a ton. My go-to is gum. I bought a whole bunch of gum at a bulk food store in a flavor that I'd never had before, and I only chewed it while studying. And it's kind of crazy now, because if I even just think about the taste of that gum, I hear that instrumental upbeat jazz in my head, and I start thinking of law concepts. It's crazy. Using all 5 of your senses while you're studying will help you on test day. There's only 3 simple rules to apply these tricks. 1, give your brain enough time to associate the trigger with your memory. Just like Pavlov's dog, he's not gonna immediately associate the bell with eating. It has to be done repeatedly. And same with you. So if you're consistent with your 5 senses as you're studying, chew the same gum, listen to the same music, have the same nail polish on, be wearing the same scent. When you're consistent with those long enough, your brain will associate those triggers with the material that you're studying. Rule number 2 is to only use those things while studying. If you've worn a perfume your entire life, that perfume is not going to remind you of a specific moment in your life. But if you've ever bought a perfume on a vacation and only wore it on that vacation, you'll notice that every time you smell it, oh, you are right back on that vacation. So only use the cues that you come up with while you're studying. And the third and final rule is to make sure that those cues that you are trying to establish are replicable on test day. For instance, don't make your cue a chocolate cupcake if you're not going to be allowed to eat a chocolate cupcake during your test. And if you can't listen to music during your exam, maybe don't study with music. Maybe keep earplugs in so all you hear is the noise. Hey, the noise is a noise too. Good luck in school this year, and don't forget to take it easy.